the first thing that I see a lot of organisations not do that therefore makes it difficult is they just don't invest the time to think about thinking. So what do I mean by that? Well, when I go and work with elite teams, and again, regardless of the industry, one of the questions I will ask them is, if you divide up your best performance, whether this is a quarterly performance or whether it's in sports terms a season, you'd say, what's the difference between, so divide up your best performance into a proportion between hard and soft skills. So what do I mean by that? Well, in sports terms, you might say, how much of it is down to fitness and your strength and your speed versus how much of it is down to your ability to communicate effectively or handle setbacks or to be able to work cohesively as a team, and get them to divide into a proportion soft versus hard skills. And I've yet to go into any elite organisation that wouldn't tell you the ratio is 30-70 in regards to 30% of it is hard skills, 70% of it is down to soft skills. The obvious next question to ask them is, how much time do you spend developing soft skills then? And the irony is, in poor organisations, they'll tell you it's about 95-5 in favour of hard skills. So we spend most of our time doing the hard stuff, and about 5% of it investing it in looking at the soft skills. So my challenge to them is, well, how do you expect to get better? Because if you're telling me your biggest gains are going to come through soft skills and you don't invest any time thinking about them, why are you going to get better? It's just going to be an accident rather than by design. So I'd say the first issue that I see, and I know you do as well when we go into organisations, is you have to make the time to think about this and invest it, because otherwise it just becomes a gimmick. It just becomes something that you do every now and again. You know, when morale's down, let's bring somebody in to come and challenge our thinking. Whereas if you make this part of your process of what you're doing, that you're doing this on a regular basis, that gives you the starting point of raising your self-awareness. And most of this stuff is common sense. Yeah. If you're making the time to do it, you can then make it part of your common practice. I'd say the stuff you highlighted there around, you go into organisations that merely play at this, or they do it through committees. Yeah. So the stuff around trademark behaviours, if you're thinking about this, you're right. There's two things that I often see organisations do. They either talk about values, organisational values, which are valid. This isn't to denigrate them, but values are simply the driver for what your behaviours will be anyway. But if you just talk about values are quite an abstract term that nobody ever needs to demonstrate them. You never need to actually give anybody any evidence of your values. You could tell somebody that you've got a value of believing that everybody is equal, but you might be a racist. Yeah. But you can hide your genuine views by saying, oh yeah, but I believe in the value of diversity. You have to demonstrate it through behaviours. Your behaviours are simply your values into action. So, first of all, I challenge organisations that might be listening to this to say, don't talk values, talk behaviours. And then you made a really good point there, Kirsty. Don't do a nice shopping list of behaviours. Do the essential trademark behaviours. Narrow it down to the 3 most important. And then if you want to go a step further, rank them in importance as well. So give people a sense of this comes. So at Barcelona, humility is the first one. Then you work hard. Then you put the team first. And there was a really clear order to that. Now that's not easy to get to, but the rewards of it are so obvious because you give everybody a way of understanding how do we behave here. What are the rules of engagement that gives people a transparency and a consistency in how they actually implement it?